Watseco-Barview is in an unincorporated area located between the communities of Garibaldi and Rockaway Beach. People have lived in the area since the early 1900s and relied on Smith Creek as their water source. At times, water contamination from the Giardia bacteria posed health risks, prompting the Tillamook County Board of Commissioners to authorize the formation of the Watseco-Barview Water District in the late 1970s. Initially, water was obtained from Sandpoint wells, but eventually the district dug a traditional well and installed a pump station at the Tillamook County Barview Jetty Campground. Two major issues face the district: water quality and adequate supply. It has become increasingly difficult to meet state and federal drinking water standards, and the Oregon Health Authority required that the district develop and implement an action plan to provide clean drinking water. During peak summer month usage, the district has also had difficulty meeting customer demand. Looking to the future, district officials evaluated many options through a water system master plan, deciding that connection to the city of Garibaldi offered the best solution. Garibaldi has excess water production capacity with no water quality issues. City officials, district commissioners, staff, and consultants work with the Infrastructure Finance Authority to develop a grant loan funding package to build a water intertie and consolidate the two water systems. The route of the 1.4-mile Watseco-Barview Garibaldi intertie was planned using existing easements and rights-of-way, connecting to the Watseco-Barview system north of the Three Graces and in Garibaldi at Highway 101 and 10th Street. The majority of the water line is located on the west side of the railroad tracks, and construction was scheduled to begin in early May to minimize interference with the operation of the Oregon Coast Scenic Railroad. The contractor, M.L. Hout Construction, started with riprap, which was needed to shore up the rail bed in some sections along Tillamook Bay. By mid-May, 480 tons of riprap had been delivered by the Oregon Coast Scenic Railroad and placed with a tracked excavator and high-rail rotary dump truck. The riprap installation was inspected and approved by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Oregon Coast Scenic Railroad also transported ballast gravel rock to flood the tracks to enable the contractor to more easily use their equipment. Along the railway, the intertie pipe is high-density polyethylene with a wall thickness of nearly 2 inches, an inside diameter of nearly 10 inches, and weighing more than 20 pounds per foot. The unique performance characteristic of this pipe allows it to flex under stress before returning to its normal configuration. Pipe sections were fused using the McElroy Trackstar machine, which precisely cuts both ends of the adjoining sections. Both pipe ends are then heated to over 400 degrees and hydraulically forced together until a 3/8 inch bead shows on the outside of the joint, assuring a seamless connection. Trenching on the railroad right-of-way began just north of the pier at the old Coast Guard station, maintaining the proper depth and distance from the tracks. At times during trenching, the contractor encountered rock and needed to switch to a pneumatic chisel head to break up the rock for removal. Bedding material was placed in the trenches, and the pipe was then lifted into place. Before the trench was backfilled, tracer wires were attached along the entire length of pipe to allow for easy location when necessary. Four gate valves were installed in the run of the pipe along the track. The project moved quickly, installing a half-mile of pipe along the right-of-way within a 2-week period in June. The Intertie connection required installation of pipe under the tracks near the old Coast Guard station, a procedure complicated by buried fiber optic communication cables. Railroad personnel and a military subcontractor from Alaska Communications were on hand, while railroad ties were carefully excavated, successfully avoiding 6 fiber optic cables that run along the east side of the tracks. A steel casing was installed to house the pipe with fused adapters for the 90-degree bends needed for pipe connection. After the trench was filled and compacted, railroad workers replaced the ties and ballast. This procedure was repeated the next day at the north end of the Intertie near the Three Graces. Outside of the railroad right-of-way, the pipeline was built using 6 and 8-inch C900 PVC water pipe. In late June, the contractor began trenching and installing C900 pipe down Bay Lane, continuing eastward, installing a fire hydrant and air release valve near 12th and Bay Lane. While the contractors continued installing pipe towards the Myrtlewood factory in Garibaldi, Armadillo Boring bored and installed the casing to hold the pipe, which would go under Highway 101, connecting the pipe to Garibaldi's existing water system. As June came to an end, the contractors finished installing pipe in front of the Myrtlewood factory and began working at the north end of the project, fabricating the water line header for the control building at Three Graces. By the end of the first week in July, the contractors were within 10 feet of connecting to Watseco-Barview. They then turned their attention to finishing the installation of the pipe under Highway 101 at 10th Street in Garibaldi, finalizing the southern connection of the Intertie project. After both ends of the line were backfilled and cleaned up, the contractor flushed the new line and installed taps for chlorination and pressure testing. The pressure testing was done on 1 1/4 miles of water line. On July 24th, the disinfection process was completed and testing proved negative for the presence of total and E. coli coliform. On August 11th, a milestone was realized when the final connection between Garibaldi's and Watseco-Barview's water system was completed. Described as driving the golden spike, the event coincided with an on-site visit from EPA, IFA, and the City of Garibaldi officials. The visit and inspection went very well, with everyone excited about the project. In August, construction began on the cement block control valve chlorination building, which contains the flow regulation valve and system water meter. This is all connected electronically to the City of Garibaldi for operational purposes. Due to nearly 40 years of sediment accumulation, the contractor recommended ice pigging the district's distribution lines. This relatively new technology was performed at the end of August by Utility Service Group. Water was frozen to a semi-solid state, transported by tanker truck to various locations in the district, and using existing water pressure was pushed through the distribution lines, scouring out the built-up sediment. Results were dramatic. The complete system was cleaned in segments. District customers experienced short disruptions in service and were required to flush their home lines, but then found immediate, noticeable improvement in water quality. Following the ice pigging, the 300,000-gallon district reservoir was drained, cleaned and sanitized, and then refilled with Garibaldi water. The Watseco-Barview City of Garibaldi water intertie has been described as a win-win project and could not have been completed without the vision, hard work, and dedication of the Watseco-Barview Board of Commissioners and the City of Garibaldi, with many thanks to M.L. Houck Construction for a job well done.